Welcome back to Jason Rick channel. There's a lot wrong with this show. Episode 3 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law starts with Jen arriving to see Emil Blonsky. Apparently he was forced to leave the prison by Wong, but Jen breaks the fourth wall to remind us that this is her show, not a cameo of the week affair. Anyway, while this abomination gig bubbles over, Jen is given another task to overlook, which she nonchalantly laughs off. Remember Dennis from episode 1? Well, he's back and wants to file a suit against his ex-girlfriend. He's been defrauded by her and wants his money back. Runa is actually a shape-shifting light elf from New Asgard. She's been taking on the form of Megan Thee Stallion, and he was hoodwinked into believing it was really her. Jen doesn't take it seriously and just laughs at him before walking away. Dennis has spent a good deal of money on her too, $175,000 to be precise. With a good deal of product placement in the form of a Red Bull can on the table, the shapeshifting light elf actually shows up and takes the form of Dennis and immediately ousts herself. After downing the sugary drink, of course. Anyway, Wong shows up and sees Jen, claiming that he needed to release Abomination, doing so against Emil's own wishes as he needed a worthy opponent as Sorcerer Supreme. He amusingly suggests whether to send him to the mirror dimension as punishment, but instead, he's tasked to appear before the parole board where his fate will be decided. There's a good deal of character witnesses from those inside the prison with good words for Emil too, before Wong shows up to speak his piece. At the same time, Dennis ends up in court where the prosecution argues that Runa is a scam artist and Dennis had no idea he wasn't dating Megan Thee Stallion. After all, if she's a shapeshifter and he was unaware of it, then that constitutes a scamming, right? Apparently, the judge is not impressed but allows it to go to trial all the same, despite telling Dennis he doesn't know how the man could be fooled so easily. Well, considering hundreds of people were fooled by Runa showing up inside the superhuman law firm, nonchalantly managing to walk in from the front door without arousing suspicions from security or any of the workers, I'd say it's pretty easy. Anyway, Runa then impersonates the judge and rushes up to the desk, banging the gavel and making a mockery of the courtroom. Jen heads off to the bar to vent about her woes and taking further digs at Dennis in the process, calling him terminally deluded. This works in Dennis' favor, as Jen is brought in to give a scathing assessment over how stupid and delusional he is. Anyway, Dennis wins and gets his $175,000. Runa is also put away for 60 days for impersonating a judge. The parole board come to an agreement and Emil Blonsky is able to go free. However, he has to wear an inhibitor and isn't allowed to change over to the Abomination ever again. That night, Jen is attacked by several men, but they're easily defeated when she remembers to switch over to She-Hulk. As the men scamper away, Jen catches a glimpse of her transformed form in the car window and contemplates her next move. The episode review. Although this episode is a slight improvement in terms of comedy, mostly because of Wong's inclusion, the rest of this is still really poor. The male hating continues, with a lot of jabs toward Dennis and some pretty scathing retorts toward us, the audience, for expecting cameos and superheroes. On the subject of the shapeshifting light elf, it's such a shame that this is just made a mockery of, with Dennis being delusional and the worst man alive the only reason he's able to win his case, not because he was genuinely scammed by a shapeshifter. This could have been a really thought-provoking case too. Remember the speech the senator gave at the start of X-Men about the dangers of mutants and their powers? Imagine if we had something like that in this series? But nope, instead we get Jen Walters hating the Hulk, men in general, and being a superhero. All of this, whilst simultaneously hating women being objectified while objectifying Captain America, complete with a screensaver of his ass and getting hung up on whether he's a virgin or not. See the irony here? The biggest problem with this show though is Jen Walters. She's so damn unlikable. She's arrogant, has a victim mentality, and absolutely despises superheroes. She has no flaws, can solve everything, and can't be stopped. But yet, despite claiming she takes her job seriously, we get clownish scenes like the twerking during the post-credits that contradict this. I know that's supposed to be funny, but given we know that Jen is most passionate about her job and wants to take that seriously, is this not a direct contradiction to her own values? Unfortunately, She-Hulk is a complete tonal disaster. It's not particularly funny, and there's no thought put into the law scenes either. There will be some who enjoy this, but as we approach the halfway point of Marvel's latest project, She-Hulk needs to step it up, and quickly.